If everyone in ancient India spoke Sanskrit and it was perfect, why did people come up with different languages like Telugu, Kannada, etc.? It's a valid question, good question. Many people would be wondering. Look, Sanskrit is the ancient cultural and civilizational language of India. It doesn't mean it was the only language in India. India is a subcontinent sized geographical region. We know how diverse India is. There are so many subcultures and regions in India. If you go from one village to another village in a single state, you will see a different culture, a different dialect being spoken there, a different cuisine, different way of dressing themselves, etc., a different ways of whatever rituals they perform, etc. So, India is an enormously diverse place, and there is an enormous amount of linguistic diversity in India. Even during the Vedic age, when Vedic Sanskrit was prevalent, there would be hundreds of other languages and dialects that were around. It is not a linear descent from one language to another. In a small region, let's say a small European country, you would have that sort of thing. For example, in Italy, you had ancient Latin, then you had classical Latin, and then it became Italian. And even in a small place like Italy, you had other languages too. The Sardinian language, and various other languages. Those were wiped out eventually by the predominance of Latin, because this was a hegemonic society. In a vast society like India, you had hundreds of languages flourishing all the time in parallel with each other. It was never a linear descent. Once you had this language, then its descendant language was this, and then that. It's never been like that. It's been a vast network of different languages, right? So you had many languages evolving in parallel, hundreds of languages, but the one civilizational language was always Sanskrit. So people would typically learn in the education system their mother tongue, and they would also learn Sanskrit. And Sanskrit would be the medium of education in scientific subjects, mathematics, logic, and various other subjects like history, geography, and whatnot. So it has always been a two language system, your mother tongue and this civilizational language. Always. The Cholas, take the Cholas for instance, they spread all across Southeast Asia. They conquered the entirety of Southeast Asia. It's one of the greatest maritime empires of all history. And which language did they propagate all across these regions? It was Sanskrit, not Tamil. And some people will say that there is Tamil being spoken in Singapore and Malaysia, etc. That is because of Tamil influx during the British occupation of this region. It is not because of the Cholas. The Cholas spread Sanskrit everywhere. Tell me something. Do the people of Indonesia have Tamil names or Sanskrit names? Do the people, the kingdoms in Cambodia, Malaysia, uh, Vietnam, etc., in the Philippines and all these regions, and in Indonesia also, did these kingdoms have Tamil names or Sanskrit names? Sanskrit. So Sanskrit has always been the high language of culture and civilization, and people have always spoken also their mother tongue, whatever it is. But everyone across India, north, south, east, west, always recognized Sanskrit as the civilizational language. That's why you have hundreds of languages and dialects in India, but you also had Sanskrit always.